Hi, everybody. It's February 18th, 2026. In the course of our lives, just the nature of reality and the nature of modern life, there's no escaping the kind of tandem habit that we have of reading tea leaves. And so some of us who are more sensitive to trying to ascertain signs and trying to figure out what certain cues that we get from our environment, from our mental environment, or whatever environment we find ourselves in, we try to read the tea leaves of these signs that we believe mean something. And as I get older, I notice that the more I rely on tea leaf reading, the more confused and more put out that I could feel. But there's no stopping, for some of us, there's no stopping the habit of trying to read tea leaves. And the best thing that I've noticed how to deal with this habit is if you can't find a direct and kind of concrete meaning behind the tea leaves you are reading, behind the cues that you are getting, it's best not to act on that innate ignorance of that situation. But when you can't stop going through trying to discern the signs and trying to come up with what they mean, I would just, the best habit that I have to dealing with that is I just let things be. And I pay attention. I kind of make a mental note of the ideas that I'm getting from these signs, and I just let it flow. And the best conclusion, or the best summation of the conclusion that I could get from my habit of doing this, is that the tea leaves are not actually going to give you, they're not going to give you verbal, in a sense, confirmation. But if you continue to read them and continue to be patient, they lead you to something that's going to give you information in a more literal sense, in a more conscious sense rather than subconscious. So it's not actually in being able to pull the meaning out of thin air by reading the signs. It's by going with the flow of reading the signs and letting it take you to the person, place, or mental space in which the real fruit of this sign is, where it's bearing at, where there's meaning at. And so this gets me to thinking about the juncture of overwhelm. So as you could probably ascertain, when too many things are pressing upon us at a singular moment, it is very likely or very contagious to get overwhelmed. And when multiple things are pressing on me and I start to feel the stress level rise and rise and rise, the best way that I learned how to keep myself from getting overwhelmed is to not necessarily get better at multitasking, not getting better at doing a single thing at a time, but it's kind of releasing the need to have the cake at this moment. I would just release the need to have all the answers, to be available to all the people, all the things. Just release that need and basically go and choose which one you feel most comfortable with dealing at the time and delving into the details of that particular problem while ignoring the other problems. And then what you will see is once you get into one thing, the other ones kind of subside because they have no choice. If you choose not to entertain the other pressing matters at that juncture of overwhelm, they will fade away. They have no other choice, because if you're not paying attention to them, yes, there may be consequences. And of course, if it's a life and death situation, do the best you can to handle all of them. But if it's a regular situation where there's multiple things pressing upon you, they have no choice but to back away if you're not giving them your attention at the moment and you're focusing on one thing. And another way to deal with the juncture of overwhelm is for the scenario of anticipation. When you are walking towards something that is a behemoth, that is fiery, that is very foreboding, you are walking towards it, and you can feel the anxiety shooting up at each step you take towards this pressing matter, and it's threatening to overtake you and overwhelm you. You may literally feel like you're about to pass out. The best way that I deal with anticipation of this nature is I leave open the possibility that yes, I'm going to freak out. Yes, I may freak out. Yes, I may make a fool of myself. Yes, this person may be turned off by me and they may leave me after all this stress I've been going to because I'm going to meet them. Allow those possibilities to happen. And once you have the inner strength to allow the possibilities of embarrassment, of being abandoned, of being made a fool of, once you open that possibility, you are showing your heart that you are strong enough to withstand those sorts of negative outcomes. And when you show your heart that you're strong enough to bear those, it kind of lets loose the spigot a little bit, and the anxiety and the overwhelm starts to subside. And then this is the point where you focus on what are you going to do once you get there to what you're anticipating, like what you're going to do when you get there. What are you going to say? How are you going to handle it? You start to make plans, and making plans further alleviates the overwhelm. And the last thing I can say about the juncture of overwhelm is some of us have worse nightmare scenarios. Like, for you imagine a particular thing that's going to happen, and it's making you stressed out. You imagine a particular thing that you're like, whatever happens, I do not want this to happen. I do not want this particular thing to happen, because if it happens, that means that my life is shot. That means that there's something wrong with me. That means that I'm not sure about this place I'm in. That kind of thinking is initially that kind of thinking is the wrong way to go about it from the very start. And just as I almost implied before, you have to allow your worst nightmare scenario, or the thing you don't want to happen the most, you got to allow that possibility to be, because you have to be the person that is able to function no matter what happenstance. You have to be the person that functions no matter how much face you lose, no matter how much security that you feel you lost at a moment. You have to be the person that's available, that's able, or willing, or confident enough to withstand those types of scenarios that happen. And once you realize that this particular scenario that you do not want to happen at all, once you realize that when you allow the possibility for it to arise, the chances of it arising certainly and suddenly diminish. So I hope this helps. Thanks.